Hello, I'm Scott Bulky here with Alexander O'Sullivan ahead of his Cade Warriors 200 fight against Scott Harvey. How are you doing today?
Yeah, doing great. Had a hard training session this morning, and I have another session coming up now in an hour or so, and just training hard and working towards the date now. It's 2 weeks out, and everything is locked in and everything is ready to rock. So yeah,
Ex-
can't be happier.
exactly. And how do you feel about getting someone like Harvey? Like, what do you feel like your advantage is going to be in this fight? And just how is it being on a card as big as what Cade Warriors 200 is going to be?
Yeah, I mean it's a serious opportunity to get to be on Cage Warriors 200. I feel like there's a lot of like international attention on it. I seen it being mentioned on the UFC there the other day.
Yeah,
And the fact that it's in Ireland, it suits me so much, obviously. And Cage Warriors is kind of coming back to its Irish roots at the right time. So I think Ireland is one of its biggest draws. We've got a serious talent pool at the moment, and that's why they've decided to put 200 on in Dublin, and that's just perfect for me. I've lived in Dublin my whole life. I was born in Dublin, so now I get to put on a show in front of my friends, my family, my supporters in Dublin on Cage Warriors 200. And then, to be honest, Scott is a perfect opponent to do that against. Not in that it's going to be an easy fight, but that because it's going
yeah.
to be a good fight and because it's going to be a fight that people want to see. So he's undefeated, I'm undefeated, and I think that people want to see those matchups as much as possible. So even stylistically, I think it makes for a fun fight. So I'm really excited about the opportunity I've been given, and now I just need to go in there and take it with both hands.
And you not had the easiest time in Cade Warriors in terms of matchmaking. You started off get you're meant to fight back in, I think it was April 2023. That turned into a fight that wasn't in featherweight. You then got a fight in featherweight, but then you're having to go into another weight class last time as well. Do you feel like being able to still carry on having these fights is it's just helping your experience more than just say leaving it and just waiting for that right opportunity in that proper weight class?
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to be prepared to to change things up and to be able to keep that kind of mental resilience when fights fall through. And it's obviously important for the promoter to have someone who's willing to take those fights because things go wrong all the time. So like I feel like Cage Warriors know that I'm there to fight every time. If they book me for a fight, I'm not going to pull out. And if my opponent does, I'm ready to fight up away if needs be, or an opponent change last minute. I'm ready to rock. Like so, even just for my own personal like confidence as well. Just going in like my last opponent was a 70 kg, and like it wasn't like he was a featherweight that had to take a short notice fight at 70. Like he was a lightweight. That's his weight class that he's
Yeah.
always fought at. So it was I had to fight a bigger guy, because I'm not a lightweight size. But at the same time, as an amateur, I fought heavy because as an amateur, like I had 30 fights. It's a lot of fights as an amateur, and the only reason I could have that many is because I was willing to take every fight that was going. If you're saying no to fights as an Ami, you're not going to get 30 fights. You know what I mean? You're not going to get that
Yeah.
in. So the reason I was able to do that is because I was willing to take fights. Like I took a fight against Chris Duncan at 74, day before 74 kg, and I didn't even weigh 74. And that fella's cutting huge
Yeah.
weight like you see him in the UFC. He looks huge at 70 in the UFC. Never mind fighting me when I was even smaller than I am now. As an 18-year-old. But like that experience stands to me. Because Chris is an absolute animal, and I was able to, hang in there with him for as long as I did, and that means when we're pro now and I get offered a fight 2 weeks out because my opponent pulled out and it's up a weight, I'm like, yeah, okay, I've done this before. I've done this against tougher opposition before when I wasn't as good when I was younger. Now I'm ready and I'm gonna win anyway. So that's why I took those. That's why I took those fights. So stood to me now 3-0 Cage Warriors 4-0 as a pro, and like I say, big opportunity ahead of me now to show once again that I'm someone to be reckoned with in the Cage Warriors featherweight division and on from that even.
And I think it kind of shows the level of competition that you've had in that amateur career has set you up. Not only did you face Chris Duncan, but you've also faced a fellow top contender in the featherweight division, Alexander Loof, during your amateur career. Do you feel like while you didn't say no to a fight in the amateur scene, your experience against the top guys as well has just helped you in become the fighter that you have come to today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not that you only improve, but you improve dramatically from taking fights and taking hard fights, especially as an amateur. My record goes back to 0-0 anyway.
Yeah.
Some of them I won, some of them I lost. I'm undefeated at the moment either way, so that's where it stands to me. And to be fair, I fought Loof in the IMAFs, and that's where the IMAFs comes in as well. Like I had 4 IMAF campaigns, and I managed to medal at every one. So that meant that I had 3-4 fights every time, and that's another way to rack up fights and to meet top level opposition like the likes of Loof. Christian Jorge as well. I managed to beat him in the IMAFs. He's up there in the Division 2. So these are the types of people you'll meet in the IMAFs, and then you might come across them again as pros. So it's nice to already have wins over them and to kind of like know I'm at that level. I'm ready for them when they come. So as much as like Harvey is a strong opponent, he probably hasn't had the depth to his amateur career that I have. So we look very even. In fact, he looks 5-0 and I'm 4-0. He looks like he might be more experienced than me. But when it comes down to it, the depth of my amateur career, I feel is deeper than his. So that's what I'm hoping to kind of showcase, obviously in 2 weeks' time.
And do you feel like the big thing that drives people to Cage Warriors is just their strength in competition? You just need to look across the full of the weight classes. You've got George Hardwick, you've got Samuel Silva, you've got Omari in the lightweight, you have in featherweight Luth, Aidan Lee, Nick Bagley, Simon, Scott Harvey, yourself. It seems like any division you go to, you can just name 5, 6, 7 contenders that you could put in the title fight, and it's not out of place.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a it's a shark tank. To be fair, it's all the good fighters from Europe, like from Western Europe in general, and even further afield, and even Brazilians now as well. We're seeing a few American fighters. Like it really is good fighters, good talent across the board. Like you're not going into Cage Warriors to kind of build yourself into a pro career. Like you're going in there, you've already done what it takes at amateur to know you're good, because there's no point in going in and thinking I'm going to build a bit, because you're going to get tough opposition straight away. You're going to get some of the best lads. I think, like for example, my Cage Warriors debut, where I had to take a opponent change on short notice. The guy they brought in was the Cage Warriors Academy champion. So he was good. He was right at the top of his amateur game, ready to make the move to pro. And that's the opportunity that I get given then as well, and I just have to beat that fella. So you're not going in there to fight someone who's a journeyman. They just don't exist in Cage Warriors. So that's why it's the biggest feeder to the UFC, because the UFC know that if you're the champ of that division, or you're winning in Cage Warriors consistently, finishes especially, they know you're good. They know you're at the level that is required. So that's why we get you get signed, and I think that's the biggest pull factor for fighters to come to Cage Warriors. I think. Yeah, we're all here to test ourselves and have good fights, but you know that if you do that and you win, the next stop is the UFC, and that's a lot of our goals. I imagine it's certainly mine anyway.
Now, are we going to make a hat trick on the night for the CMAC guys? Got yourself, Trevor, Keith, all on the same card. Make it 3 out of 3.
Absolutely. I mean, Trev had a really tough fight, like I was just saying there. Norbert is an unbelievable fighter. He went out and he beat Charles Joyner in a minute in his next fight. So we knew Norbert was that good, but it's hard to match Trevor, and it's just hard to match people at that weight. So it wasn't like, we could say no to that fight. We went out there to beat him, and I think he put on a good performance. I think, he won the first round on all 3 judges' scorecards and let the next 2 slip, but he was in there the whole time, and Norbert is very good. So I feel like if Trevor gets to kind of showcase the skills more against someone that's maybe not as good as Norbert, he was still a good opponent. The guy he's fighting is strong. Trev's gonna really show up, and you're gonna get to see a lot more of his skill set, and hopefully a finish in there as well. That's the plan for Trev, of course. And then Keith's looking to make it 4 finishes from 4. He hasn't been outside the first round as a pro yet, and to be honest, we expected this from him. He's such a stellar amateur career and such a good fighter in general. There won't be too many at this level that will take him into deep waters. But we've got a nice test against the 6-3 Brazilian guy this time. He's a bit of a he's a bit more experienced, a bit of a veteran in the pro game, and he's never been finished, and all of his wins are by finish. So he's a good test. I think he's a good test. Like I've seen him fight some good fighters. Like his losses are against highly ranked fighters, and he took them to decision every time. So I think especially if Keith gets a finish over this guy, it really puts a stamp on the division that like he has what it takes, because we already know how talented he is, but it'll be good to see him kind of put someone away now that is a little bit of a veteran at pro, but also hard to finish. Also a tough guy himself. So if Key finishes this fellow, which is the plan, it will really stand to us, stand to him and the evolution of his career now. Yeah.
And what's your plan for this year? You've only got this fight. You get that win, you move to 5-0. What's your plan for the rest of this year? How many fights you wanting, and what's the goal?
I would love 3 fights this year. So getting one in this early in February is sets the year up great. I think we can easily get another one in the summer, and then one in the autumn. Then, that will most likely be the goal. I plan on staying ready, so maybe other opportunities will come quicker than that, and so on. But yeah, 3 fights would be ideal. I'd love to be 7-0 at the end of this year. And I think I'm gonna put myself into title contention, to be fair, for the featherweight division this year. I think that if I beat Scott, he's 5-0 undefeated. That puts me right up there in the division. I probably have to have another fight then in the summer, to against another highly touted contender, say, and then that probably puts me in the mix at 6-0 for a possible title shot there. I think it also depends on how the Nick Bagley Solomon fight goes. I think if Saul wins, and especially if he wins by finish, because that will put him, I think, with 8 finishes,
Yeah,
he'll get signed. I think he will get signed. I think 8 wins with 8 finishes is more than enough to get signed. So I think if he's out of the division and it opens it up, then I think that's where I slot in lovely to fight for the belt next towards the end of this year. But that's the goal. That's the goal. Yeah. So like, look, I'll take 3 for 3, of course, anyway, and be 7-0 and move from there. But if one of them is for the belt, towards the end of the year, that's kind of that's the best outcome, if you know that way.
exactly. And how good was it for Irish MMA when Solomon was able to go into London at the end of that year and be able to clinch that belt? How good was it for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was super for Irish MMA in general, just to show the level that we're at. Like, I would have came up in the amateur scene with Solomon, going to the same IMAFs, and going to just being at all the same shows. Like, he's from that same, like, the cream of the crop that
Yeah,
was that like late teen, like pre-COVID, gang, and I think it's great to see that he is at the level he is at, because it just gives it a little bit of a motivation, and inspires the likes of me. What I mean, like, Saul is really good. He's breaking his balls every day. You can tell he's really dedicated to the sport. But I feel like I am as well, and I feel like I can do that too. That way. So when I see Saul win, it's inspiring to kind of motivate me and push me on to, like, this is doable. You know what I mean? So like, that's why I've nothing against Nick Bagley. I don't really know the guy. I've never met him, but I'd love to see Saul be him. Hopefully
yeah,
by a finish and move to the UFC, because that's another part of then where it's like, right, I'm gonna do that next. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do that next. I've trained with Saul a good few times over the years. He's a great guy, and like that, I just feel like um they were all on that same wavelength. So if he wins and he continues to do so well, it just inspires us in the division. So you've got some serious featherweight Irish talent in general coming through right behind him. So hopefully we can all do it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, two of us are going to have to fight each other, like me and Scott.
yeah.
And as unfortunate as that is, one of us is going to take a setback. You know what I mean? And for me, I hope it's Scott. You know what I mean? And Scott hopes it's me. But like, we're not all going to get there, unfortunately. So some of us are going to have to take it off each other. If you know what I mean? So this is what's happening in 2 weeks, unfortunately, or fortunately, for the fans, because it's going to be a great fight.
And you're just showcasing your abilities across the whole of the European scene. You've got yourself, Matt, in the Cage Warriors. You've got Ian Gary doing his thing in the UFC. You've got Will Fleury and Brian Manning in Octagon. You've got Jordan Bradshaw in Aries. It's an Irish takeover.
Absolutely, yeah, we're doing really well at the moment. Like, this wave of Irish fighters that are coming through like that. This is the wave that I came up in as an amateur and had all those amateur fights in. I was quite young at the time. Now I'm 27. It's more than ready to really make the push for it now. And so are all the rest of the lads, and that's what you're seeing. So all these guys that we kind of came up in this newest wave. You're going to see them keep pushing. You know what I mean? Yeah, over in Octagon, like Manning looked great. Jordan is looking great on Aries as well.
Yeah,
So we've got a few international kind of successes over there early-ish in their careers, but hopefully going to keep going. And then like obviously the likes of Paul Hughes over on PFL, even like Derek Kelly's doing unbelievable on
yeah.
PFL. Kieran Clark as well. When we see him back this year, Nate and Kelly as well. They're all kind of on PFL and they're very very good fighters. And then the Cage Warriors, like we were just talking about, kind of in depth. The Cage Warriors, Irish wave is literally going to be pushing at the top of every division at this point. You know, you've got like the likes of Leon and Adam Darby there, welterweight, going to be pushing for belts, soon themselves, I'd say, or push on to the UFC. We have obviously
Keith,
a mountain of
Max.
featherweights. Max in featherweight, you've got Max, me, Keith, Solomon, um, Kenny McCran is there.
You've Jaron flyweight.
Yeah, you've got Jaron flyweight, you've got Gary Rooney in flyweight, you've got Conor McCarthy at lightweight as
Yeah.
well, and he's killing it as well, undefeated. I think he's 5-0. So Paddy McCrory then obviously at middleweight fighting for the belt. So like in most divisions, like it's there's an Irish guy right up there contesting. So if we
And
can
Binder as well.
win all those fights, we'll go to the UFC. Yeah.
And with the event, it is a £10,000 bonus that's coming in there. What would you do if you get that money?
To be honest, I'd have to invest in a little bit, a few Lego sets and stuff like that. You know, I'm a nerd in my spare time, so there'll be a few nerdy outgoings coming from my bank account if I get that 10,000. But yeah, like I'm just gonna keep using it to build. To be honest, the gym itself is massive. You know, so it's me, Key, Trev, obviously fighting together. Jordo is fighting on Aries from Air Gym, and then we've got a whole host of codes. My sister's fighting on PFL, and these kind of things. So we've got a whole host of high level amateurs coming through to the pro ranks. So if I was to get a 10 grand bonus, a large majority of that would be going to pump back into the gym and see if we can continue to upgrade, because our talent pool is so deep now in the gym that it's becoming important to almost like make the facilities reflect that. You know what I mean? So that like if I can make a few quid, um, it was time to me to really upgrade the gym facilities and keep building, because I think there's a real success story coming out of the gym. So I have no doubts about putting my eggs in that basket, if you know what I mean now, and really pushing on to becoming one of the biggest gyms in the country. You know, we ended up winning like a local kind of like public poll kind of thing for amateur gym of the year there recently on social media, and I think that kind of like showed that people do see that, you know, the general like fan base do see that out of the Irish gyms we really are pushing strong, and I want that to be a pro. I want us to be a pro gym of the year, you know, in the next few years. So that's the goal, and that's definitely where some of that money will be going for sure. Yeah, and of course, Lord of the Rings Lego sets in abundance, as much as I can spare.
I was going to say, which Lego set is it going to be? Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, absolutely, yeah. So my girlfriend got me Rivendell for my birthday there. Big, massive set. So it's really opened up the Pandora's box of like Lego for me now. I'm gonna have to get involved in getting all the sets. I think the Shire is one that's on my hit list now. I'm gonna buy that next. Especially if I win the 10 grand, I'm just going again the day after. You know. But yeah,
Just
so
order it from the
I'm buzzing,
arena.
and I'm gonna try my best to really get that money, not just for the money, but for the kind of the status that comes with that it's performance of the night. I want people to associate that with me, that I'm an exciting fighter and a fighter you want to watch. So I think Harvey and myself are setting up to possibly be that match, you know. So I want to take that opportunity with both hands and really put a stamp on it.
Now, like you did mention it earlier, you do have a sister in fighting who's just fought in the PFL. How has it been growing up together, being able to train with each other and just keep pushing yourself during the harder days?
Yeah, it's a massive benefit to have like my family involved. So like obviously my sister and Myself are the pro fighters, but our mother is like deeply involved in the gym as well, just
Yeah.
with helping with the day to day business and that kind of thing. So it's very much a family affair. Like so, like that. There's no slacking off because we all have to be there. We all have to be there for each other. And Koya always is there for me as well. Like she genuinely is one of my main sparring partners. Like I spar with her and train with her every night, even though she is a girl. But like she's very talented, very very good, and really really driven as well. She never misses any of our strength and conditioning sessions as a team, and like that she's the only girl in the gym. Like so, that can be a bit daunting. Like you're going up there again, up against it every night with the people you're training with because they're men. Like, but she never complains and she's always there, and it stands to her because she's really really good. And you're going to see that now this year. At the moment, just looking for matches for her is difficult. Because she is very very good.
Yeah.
But once and there isn't too many 52 kg girls, unfortunately. But as soon as those matches do come in, you're going to see her build very quickly, and hopefully be on one of the big leagues again now very soon, in the next year or so, because I know that she's that good. So now it's just about getting those matches in for her.
And we can't wait to see you put on a show and get that victory and hopefully get a Lego set come February the 21st. Is there
Absolutely.
anything you'd like to add or anyone you want to shout out?
Um, No, not really. Just want to say, if you're looking to get to if you want to get to the show and witness this kind of a spectacle of Irish MMA, like it's got everyone who's coming up. Most of the lads are on it. It's a massive show. It's Cage Warriors 200. It's going to be a massive event and lots of boys on it. If you want to get tickets now is the time to do it because they are selling out. So if you want to support me or any other lads in the gym, just go to the link in our bio and grab the tickets for the event because it's going to be an absolute massive event and it's going to be a landmark event in Irish MMA, no doubt about it. So get in now because they are selling out very quick.
Exactly. Make sure you guys tune in. You definitely don't want to miss it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.